Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. I am lucky enough to be joined by Coach Bryce of MidAmerica Nazarene University in Kansas. Coach, welcome.
That's right. Thank you, Matt.
Well, it's funny. You're another coach who I think this is maybe you're the third coach I've talked to who is an alum of the school where they're now coaching. So it's always good to get that extra bit of insight from someone who knows it from two different sides of the same coin.
Man, come on. Yeah. No, MNU, actually from Kansas City, played 2 years at MidAmerica, and then transitioned to the graduate assistant coach for the women's soccer team. Got my master's, and now this is year 3
Nice.
as the head coach. So love it, enjoy it. Yeah, it's great.
Fantastic. Well, let's dig right in and talk about your recruiting and how you guys do that. So when do you usually start hearing from players, and when do you start looking at players? Like, what year of high school are they?
Yeah, great question. I would say kind of infinitely, I'm always recruiting, right? Whether you know it or not, you're being recruited, right? What you're doing now is going to be seen or talked about, whatever way, whether that's positive or negative. So that's kind of the way that I view it. I would say kind of realistically, right? The time frame that my program is talking to players in America is probably their junior and senior years of high school, right? At the NAI level, right? We have high goals, high aspirations, but yeah, typically that's our time frame for sure.
Okay. And how many inbound contacts do you think you get in a typical week?
Yeah, the email is over flooded. So I would say, right, it's kind of like, copy paste, cookie cutter, right, goes out. So things like that, I don't really go and spend much time on. I would say, right, if they reach out, like credit to them, not everybody reaches out, right? So that's good. I'll probably, give you a quick response, and then it's coupled with maybe 1 or 2 action steps. So if you're legit, all right, cool. Make sure you follow those 1 or 2 action steps. But in regards to other, sources of communication, I would say, in person, mouth to mouth, hey, Coach Bryce, I saw this person. They need to get connected to you. I love that kind of stuff more. So in regards to a number, so many emails, I don't even know. But yeah, like the individualized things, it's probably, less than, a handful to, something like that. And so those things are a game changer.
Yeah, that's it's funny. We kind of hear that across the board. The easiest way to get noticed is to stand out just by being original and actually doing a little bit of research and knowing who you're talking to, right?
Man, yeah,
So
yeah.
besides that component of it, what would you ideally like to see in that first communication from a recruit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is, I want to know who you are, right? So I think one of the easiest ways to do that is kind of like, hey, what have you been up to, right? What are you excited about? So, hey, Coach Bryce, I'm so and so. I'm currently a junior at this high school playing for this club. I want to tell you, I'm excited about because, and then they can go and send me their like social media, or their highlight video, and maybe they go and pose a question. I think that's the best thing that they can do is say, hey, Coach Bryce, I'm interested in your program. What are you excited about? Then I can go and, kind of speak into that. So I think that is the best use of everybody's time, for sure.
No, that's great. What where do you spend a majority of your time on the recruiting trail? Like, what are the tournaments that you tend to go to? Do you check out high school games? What's your kind of refocus?
Yeah, for sure. So on my staff, there's myself and my assistant coach, Jose Ramos. He's an MNU alum. He's from Brazil, so he helps things out like internationally. He speaks Portuguese, which I don't, so that's fantastic. And then I have an assistant who's new on staff, volunteer assistant, who played 5 years, 5 seasons here. Kayla Wersh, she's from California. So I would say this is, I don't need to be a master at everything. I need to be a master at one thing, and then I need to be pretty solid at this. So for me, I'm from Kansas City. I would say, I'm pretty well connected here. So club soccer, right, means a lot here. And then I would say there is like this respect or pride, so to speak, in high school soccer. I would say right now, it's been difficult, obviously, because of COVID. in the last 2 springs and things like that. But typically we're out at like State Cup, we're out at like, ID camp showcases. But to be honest, the thing that excites us the most is seeing players in our own environment. We can have you train with our group. So if you reach out, I'm going to plug you in. Hey, come to futsal Tuesday, Thursday night. Hey, come to a session, and then we can go and give you, feedback. You get to meet our girls, as opposed to us saying, hey, it's this great environment. You get to be in it. So that's a little bit, as well as I want a very diverse team. So internationals, players from other states, different backgrounds. So MNU is a Christian university, Nazarene denomination. I would say faith is a component and like the foundation of why I coach. I see it as a platform to impact people. So we need a very diverse group, right? So that's just kind of what comes to mind forefrontly.
So you mentioned training with the group and stuff, and so do you guys run specific ID camps? Do you like to coach, other schools' camps in the summer to help identify players as well?
Yeah. I would say this is I want to connect with people who are interested in being excellent in what they do. And I think that there are many different means to make that happen. So I think, we have our own, set of camps. Typically in the first week of August, we have kind of like our youth camp. And then we also have an ID camp. And in that ID camp, I would say it's very hands-on. It's very professional and very relational in the way that we go about things. So it's a full day. We start out with the training session, and then we go throughout a campus tour. We have a meal, and then from there, we go and have like a scrimmage at the end of the day. But I think throughout that, it's all about kind of interaction. I don't want to know like what you're about. I want to know who you are. So I just go and ask questions. I show up and genuinely, show up to learn about them. So I think that's a fantastic avenue, as well as, right, K-State, KU, UMKC, other NAI universities, Benedictine, Baker, all of those. I would say it's really good to go and see you in an environment that's not ours as well. So we go in the summer to those events locally as well.
Cool. Do you often talk directly to a player's club coach? Do you like it when club coaches reach out to you and say, hey, coach, I got this great player, you got to take a look?
Yeah, I think that happens for sure. Sometimes like this person won't stop reaching out. But no, I think it's good. They're ultimately excited about something, and what I've learned is it's important to seek first to understand and then be understood. So that person is interested in sending this player or their players. I have an ear, right? We have a varsity and a varsity reserve. So there is a place, so to speak, potentially for you. So yeah, I think I'm naturally built to be like a connector. So I love relationships. And so if a club coach reaches out, absolutely, you have my attention, and then we just kind of take it one step at a time.
So do you have a set number of players that you like to try to bring in each year, or does it vary?
Yeah, it varies for sure. So when I took over the program, we had a typical roster size of 24. Right now it's 27, 28, and then we're expanding to have a varsity and a varsity reserve. So now we'll have throughout our program 2 teams, but a full roster size of about 50 ladies. So that's kind of what it looks like. So this incoming class this is the inaugural year of varsity reserve. It's pretty big. So yeah, we'll kind of find ways to offset that, right? Because you don't want a ton of new players to come in and then 4 years rolls by and everybody's out the door. So we, recruit JUCOs and things like that too.
So, well, that kind of answers my question that I was going to ask later, but I'll weave it in now, I guess. So how do, JUCOs, transfers, kind of walk-ons fit into your recruiting methodology? I guess this year being different because you're trying to fill a second team now, but let's think about it moving forward. How is that going to kind of come into play?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I had kind of personal experience. I played at a JUCO before coming to MidAmerica. So the biggest thing, right? I didn't dream of playing at a JUCO, but that's where I ended up, and I made the most of it. So I think players that are there typically are there for maybe similar reasons, but ultimately it's an opportunity, and you can make the most of it, or you can just allow it to pass by. So for me, in my 2 years, I played and started every game, played close to 90 minutes. So I have 2 years of experience. And I think when I came to MNU, right, it was a top 25 school. Yeah, it was fantastic in the NAIA across the country. Played possession style soccer. So in a sense, I was able just to go and like be plugged in. So that's what I look for, is like, a freshman is kind of wide-eyed, like they've never seen this before. But a JUCO transfer, like they've kind of been there and done that in a certain way. Obviously, there's new nuances, but there's a little different level of maturity. So I would say that's vital. I don't want to go and say, hey, here's 30 freshmen. I want to go, hey, maybe here's 18 freshmen, and then here's 10 junior college transfers, and then 2 that transferred from a 4-year, something along those lines.
That makes sense. So with expanding to a larger pool and having a bunch of girls, you're in AIA, so you have scholarships to offer. How does that work, both with your athletic money and what's your school's academic money situation? What are girls tending to look, what is their kind of financial situation look like coming to play there?
It's a great question. That's a big piece in this whole puzzle. So yeah, I would say that's a very pertinent question. And it's kind of like, there's an industry standard, but then you have to ask, hey, what about this individual school? How do you do it? So for us, so there's 2 tracks. Track number 1 is you are a non-athlete and you have an academic scholarship. Track number 2 is you are an athlete, you're a women's soccer recruit, and your scholarship package, your institutional aid, is controlled by myself and my coaching staff. So those are the 2 tracks. So at the right time, we'll extend, if we believe it's right, letter of intent. And on that letter of intent, there is going to be $1 amount. It's not 2, academic and athletic. We take into account your academics, and then we take into account where we see you fitting throughout your time here. And then that's presented to you in this format. So, putting numbers to it. Unfortunately, MNU is not cheap. It's a private school. So it is $35,000 tuition and fees for fall of 22 is the estimate. And then room and board on top of that, plus meal plan, is $9,000. So give or take $44,000. So again, not cheap. It's an investment of time and financial resources. So a typical scholarship, I would say starting range is probably total package 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,000. And then there's a range. That's kind of the starting point. And then we do have, ladies that are close to a full scholarship, so to speak, but that is extremely rare. Hey, coach, I'm looking for a full scholarship. Isn't something just to, I hope it sticks.
Yeah, not throwing those out like they're the candy at a parade, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so let's talk about what catches your eye, though, when you are looking at a player on the field or off the field. What's kind of your hierarchy of characteristics, both on and off the field, that kind of make somebody a prime recruit in your eyes?
Man, absolutely. So I would say this, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, but I would say I'm looking for high character kids, right? So I can look at what you do, why you do it, and kind of how you do it. So I think there's like a filter, so to speak, but I would say it's good character. And then I would say Christ-like character. We want those kids, so then we can refine those characters throughout their time here. So that's probably the biggest thing. So I'm looking at small details. If I'm out watching your game, whether you're winning or losing, the score matters, because I'm we're competitors and we want to win. But at the same time, how are you reacting, so to speak? How are you responding to the environment around you, right? Your coach, are you coachable, right? How do you receive, in some senses, maybe criticism? If you maybe, have a foul, you get a yellow card. What does that look like? If you have a foul, you disagree with it, you get a yellow card for dissent. These small things I think matter, as well as the teammates around that person. Are they better because that you're on the field, or they like, I can't wait for this person, even though they're very good, to get off the field so they can stop yelling at me, all of those things. So character, in regards to, right, what we do, soccer, right, technically, tactically, right, for us, we're a possession style team. So we love the ball, right? So, right foot, left foot, have to enjoy the ball at your feet, have to be comfortable being pressed, as well as you have to be creative, right? Be a problem solver. So, yeah, we just brought a girl in from Colombia. In her video, she did a rainbow over a girl. I was like, it's incredible. So yeah, we brought her here. She, started this spring. She did a rainbow. It was one of the first things I saw. I was like, that's what I saw. And then you're actually doing that. And it's not just a highlight video, and it's just like with personality. So I think that, like, there are positions that typically have flair, and then there are positions that, like, hey, I know my role as the center back to put my head on the ball, so to speak. So I guess I'm looking for the people that really know their role.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you just mentioned Colombia, and you got a Brazilian assistant coach. So a lot of NAI schools have some international flavor to their rosters, and it sounds like you do as well. What is it? How would you describe the mix of your roster between domestic and international?
Yeah. So for me, I want both or all. I don't want to just go all international. I don't want to go all American. For me, I'm an American, and I played in a team here at MNU that guys from all over the world played with. Fantastic. I was a 6. I played with a guy from Brazil. He was an 8, and he was incredibly smart. So I was doing the dirty work, and he was kind of pulling the strings. And then we played with the 10 from Chile, that was just great around the goal, providing assists. So everybody had their specific role. So I think we needed kind of that personality or that flair, that different background. But I needed those guys, and I think those guys needed me. I did the running, I did the dirty work,
Right.
defend, play simple, complete 9 out of 10 passes, 10 out of 10 passes. So I would say I want the girl that, as the number 10 can do all these flicks. And I want, the number 6. We have a number 6 from Kansas City. She played Sporting Blue Valley, ECNL, and she's a baller. But she just pings passes, and she just provides the calm in the game. So we need all types, for sure.
Okay. Well, let's talk a bit about the school. You're right outside Kansas City there, and I'm down in Florida, and I can pretty much guarantee most of the girls that I know at our club probably haven't ever been anywhere close to Kansas City. But having said all that,
Yeah.
besides what I can click on the website and find out about your school, what
Yeah.
you were a student and player there, and now you're on the coaching side. Give me the awesomeness that is MNU. What's great about it? What are people not going to know just by seeing what they see on the web?
Yeah, I love that question. Yeah, for me, I'm so excited every single day I get to come to work and do something that I love. So I don't see this as a job, but it is work. And same thing with the ladies that we bring in here. I need them, like, after I explain things, to go, wow, this is going to be incredible, right? So the secret sauce, I would say, is our people. And the MNU community, it's a small, give or take about 1,200, right? So you're going to be known, and professors know your name. They're also going to ask how you're doing, as well as the coaching staff. I coach to provide care, as well as to, I would say, coupled with, like, being warm, is being demanding. So that's what you're going to get from me. And I think, with those two things, you're going to grow. So yeah, there is no better time to be at MNU than right now. We've got big goals, and more importantly, we have good habits. We have to protect those habits. So yeah, why come to MNU? It is not the shiny, best looking thing, right? We're in the middle of Kansas. Where's Kansas? Where's Kansas City? But I would say this is, when we get people here on campus, they go, wow, this is incredible, right? We have a new student center being built. We have a new athletic complex being built in the next 2 to 3 years. But our student center is being opened up here within the next couple of weeks. $28 million building. It's incredible. So those things are great. We have great facilities, Bermuda pitch, practice and game. They're like, man, we would sleep there if we could. But yeah, the thing that makes this place incredible and why I haven't left, and why I have a heart for this place is the people.
Awesome. Well, how do specifically at your school students manage that balance between sports and academics?
Man, yeah, that one's tough. I would say in today's day and age, like, uh, I mean, I'm just going to speak to it. Anxiety is high and rampant, and there's a lot on the plate. So I would say, all, worthwhile things take extreme level of, diligence, and paying attention to small details. So, yeah, in regards to managing both is, we recruit you as a student athlete. And because our campus, really cares about relationships, we really get to hear, what things look like in the classroom. And we say we need to be proactive in communication on the front end, because there's going to be games that you have to miss. There might be labs that you have to miss. So I think it's about communication, because ultimately we're trying to go and raise the sails, so to speak, together. But you have to manage your time extremely well. If you don't, there's no chance, right? You've got 7 a.m. weights, you've got, classes from 8 to 2. You're trying to find a time for breakfast, find a time for lunch. Then you've got training at 3, all these different things for sure.
Well, you just kind of perfectly lead in. My next question would be, what does that typical day look like for a player? Let's say both non-game day or game day during the season. What's that day look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Typical game day in the fall is this. So we in the fall are in the weight room twice a week. I would say it's kind of like doing recovery as well as trying to take a step forward and into strength. So we're in the weight room typically like Mondays and Thursdays at 7 a.m. And then we play games on Tuesdays or Wednesdays and on Saturday. So 2 games a week. So during the day, weights at 7, then classes. And then generally speaking, we have training between 3:15 and 4:45, or 4:45 to 6:15. And then a lot of our girls, thank you. A lot of our girls, they go to the CAF to grab a quick bite for dinner, and then they go in the library and they got to go and study. So, I mean, the plate is full, and if you're not careful, it's just gonna just go and crumble for sure. So that's kind of like a typical day for us.
Okay. What where you are in Kansas City in your conference and even some non-conference stuff, how much do you guys have to travel, and how does that traveling factor into your, the players' academic load and class schedule and all those kinds of things?
Yeah, for sure. So we generally play about 18 regular season games in the fall. So with that, I think there's like 6 non-conference games, give or take, and then we hit conference. So non-conference kind of depends on the year sometimes. So we take that as an opportunity for an experience. So in the past, we've gone to Chicago, gone to Tennessee, gone to Portland, Oregon, right? It's experience, which is cool. So that is, a little bit more traveling. But yeah, generally try and stay regional, and then especially inside conference. I would say the average bus trip inside conference is probably 2 hours. We've got some outliers. We've got some schools about 6 hours away. We've got 2 of those schools. So typically we drive up on a Friday, stay the night, play on Saturday. But we also have some schools that are 30 minutes, 45 minutes away. So travel, I would say is reasonable. At the same time, like I said, it's all about time management. It's all about organizing, and it's all about being an effective communicator, with your coaches as well as your teammates, as well as your professors.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the team. You're adding that reserve team. So if I'm an incoming freshman, am I fighting for a spot on varsity, or am I going to be now on that reserve team, or how's that dynamic in your eyes?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say our philosophy is we want to be very professional in the way that we go about things, while being warm and relational. So, I think about, excellence. I think, professional athletes, what does that look like? Well, this is a little bit different, right? Obviously. But at the same time, let's not let our standards slip. Let's go and take pride in, who we are and how we do things. So yeah, in this regard, varsity and varsity reserve, it's one program. Everything we do, it's a family, one program. There is a first team, and then there is a second team. And some ladies we talk to, they say, hey, coach, I have no aspiration to play on varsity. I want to play on varsity reserve and be a little bit more connected on campus. And I go, heck yeah, that's perfect. Some varsity reserve ladies go, hey, coach, like, I'm ready. I can't wait to be on varsity. I go, hey, fantastic. I think that that's a great goal for you. If I believe it is, sometimes I may say, hey, I think that is out of reach right now with the current situation of things. So, we want it to be a fluid system. If we are who we say we are, we're developing people and we're developing players. So that means there's movement up and that means there's movement down, right? So that's how we approach it. We don't say, hey, you're a freshman, you go on varsity reserve. No, we started that center mid I was telling you about. She was a freshman. She was an all-conference player. And then our sophomore, she had a great year as a freshman as well. So yeah, for me, it's not about, how old you are. It is about, in a sense, like what you can do, for the best interest of the team and the program.
Makes sense. You mentioned earlier your soccer staff. How big is that staff, and what role do each of them kind of play in the totality of the program?
Ooh, man, my coaching staff, they're phenomenal. Yeah, I couldn't do this without them. And I think, this is my third year as a young coach. You try and do everything. And goodness sakes, you just need to go and say, hey, this is what I'm good at. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. So, yeah, Jose, yeah, he provides, I would say, he's the fire and I'm the ice. He's the,
yeah.
Says it very directly. And I kind of go and say, hey, here's an ice pack. Let's kind of, put an arm around you, so to speak, while at the same time, saying it how it is. So I think there's that good balance. Kayla, who's just in here, yeah, she's from California. She played in the program. She has a perspective of what it's truly like. And so I can say, hey, this is what it's going to be like, but she lived it. And so she was kind of going through highs and lows. And it was cool to see, like, she was a player her freshman year that didn't play much. And then by her super senior year, she was a captain of the team, which is incredible. So it's an example of transformation happening, in the time here at MNU. So I would say, for us to be excellent at what we do, we have to be very self-aware. And I'm very aware that I need very good people around me, like Kay, like Jose.
It was almost like you planned that. You said that, and boom, she just walked in. That's solid, Coach. That's
right.
You're working together. I like it.
Yeah, she knows I need all the help I can get.
Well, you mentioned it earlier. Your team style of play, possession oriented, liking the ball. How would you describe? And you kind of just described a little bit your style of coaching there, the fire and ice. But if you put it all together, is there anything else that you feel like you would want to let folks know about either your style of coaching or the team style of play?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think, I'm extremely excited to work with student athletes from, 18 to 24 years old, give or take, however long it takes for them. But ultimately, my greatest desire is to take care of the person. I also have a desire and a passion to, encourage you, sharpen you, challenge you to grow professionally, so to speak. And that's your job. When you come here, it's a job, it's a responsibility to go and, perform. So I'm going to, be warm, but I'm also going to be incredibly demanding. I think, that's when I grew the most. And I would say that's what the greatest need is, from my perspective right now. We need to make sure that we engage kids. So many times it's kind of like, you got to do this, but like, mentally and emotionally, they're not doing good. And I care about, the body, the mind, the heart. And when those things are going in the right direction, sky's the limit. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're talking here in February, so it's the off season. So what does your typical off season program look like?
Yeah, so for us, I'd say it's two parts. The early part, January, February, and the first half of March, we're in the weight room 4 days a week, and then we are doing futsal 2 nights a week, so Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we encourage the girls to, like, if it's a nice day outside, go train, take somebody with you. So that's kind of like the structure of the framework. And then I would say we've also got like things outside of, soccer, but are vitally important is building relationships. So we've got, team bonding. Right now it's on Monday nights. We have 2 MNU women's soccer alum that do that. And it's incredibly important. Right now we're talking about leading me to lead us, and then to lead we. So that's kind of our curriculum right now. And then after spring break, we do transition outdoor when it's not freezing here. So we're back out training about 5 days a week. And then we typically have maybe a handful of scrimmages in the month of April. And then May, June, July, they go away and they get what they need to come back sharp for August.
Awesome. Well, it's been great feedback. I'm going to leave you with one last question, and it's just the catch-all here. What haven't we talked about? What do you want people to know about your program, your school, anything that we haven't discussed, or forever hold your peace?
Come on. Yeah, no, I would say this, and I'm putting this into practice myself, is, be authentically yourself. And it's like, the doors that you were trying to go through, suddenly you don't take them and there's a path, right? So there is a path, and I think that you have to, kind of be faithful each step of that. I think along the way, the world, so to speak, culture, if you want to call it that, says, hey, go and do this, go and do this. And I would say, in regards to soccer, the sport of soccer has grown tremendously in the last 20 years. A lot of good, but there's also, maybe misinformation, right? So I can speak on my own behalf in my experience at a JUCO and an NAIA, right? The world didn't say, culture didn't say, hey, go to JUCO. They said, hey, go to a D1. And that was kind of the vision or the dream. So have big dreams, but make sure it's your dream, not somebody else's as well. So those are kind of my last 2 cents. So yeah, no, I appreciate it, Matt.
No, that's great. Well, Coach, I appreciate the time. Wish you guys the best of luck in the upcoming season. And if I wanted to go to Kansas City for the coaches convention last month,
Yeah.
but alas, I was unable to make it. But so maybe next time. But thanks for joining, and we wish you the best of luck.
Man, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks.